Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to A Link Between Worlds. This is the final of the 2DSs, and this is one of those games that I've only played through once. And you're probably going to look at me and say, or you're dumb. And you're right, I am dumb. But before you completely jump down my throat, I want to try to explain at least a little bit why I've only played through this game once. You see, it's on the 3DS. That's it. That's the explanation. As I've explained a few times, playing a 3DS is imminently uncomfortable. There's just no real good way to play a 3DS game. Like, you can't lounge in the bed, you can't hold it up above you, and if you're in a chair, you're just doing this weird, awkward thing like this. There's no comfortable way to do it. And even if you're doing, like, if you somehow magically found a way to be comfortable, which, as I've already emphasized, I don't think there is such a thing. Here's the 3DS, right? Nice big honking thing. And you hold it like this. And I know I've showed this off before, but you have to brace it. In case it's not obvious, I am bracing it with my pinkies down there, right? So you brace it with your pinkies, which is already kind of uncomfortable and strains your pinkies after a while. Also, this spot right here, which is where your pinky sits, is the power button, which it is extraordinarily easy to hit on accident when you're holding it and just playing normally. There's actually quite a few 3DS games I own that I've either only played once or never played because they're on the 3DS. So, this will be my second time playing this game. Some people in chat have already questioned whether or not this is a remake or a sequel or whatever. Here's the answer. Once upon a time, there's this game that had just came out. It's called Spirit Tracks. And immediately after Spirit Tracks came out, this is like while Skyward Sword was still in development, they're like, okay, we got this. Let's go and release. Let's start working on the next handheld Zelda. So they start working on it, they started workshopping some ideas and getting some things tossed around the office and just generally doing the usual first pass of Nintendo development, which is very, very free-form on purpose. Most of the initial games, we've actually talked about this as we've been going through both the Metroids and the Zeldas, and we've already mentioned this during the Marios. Most games just start off as 5 or 6 different ideas, which different people are all bouncing around on top of each other. Okay, cool. But then they came up with this big gimmick. They had this great idea. They're going to be like this way in which you can go and do like these 2D dungeons in a 3D game. But then there's the rest of the game, which is still 3D. Now, if you've played Mario Odyssey, this sounds familiar, but this is way, 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 way before that. And Miyamoto loved it. Gave it the green light. And then 2 weeks later, the project was canceled because there's this new thing that there was coming out, and Nintendo really wanted it to land as well as possible. It's called the Wii U. And so most of these developers were pulled off to work on some basic programming and design documents for that, and for the launch titles, most notably, New Super Mario Bros. U. So, this random Zelda game just kind of got put on pause for a while. Now, a few people still thought about it off and on, and a lot of people came together and had the same general idea. Now, this is on the tail end of the remake era, which was the GBA to the DS, but there was still enough developers who were still thinking, why don't we make a remake of one of our Zelda games, kind of like what happened with Zero Mission, or honestly, like New Super Mario Bros. I know New Super Mario Bros. Isn't actually a remake of Mario 1, but if you remember, that's what it started as. So they got together and they started doing basic outline, prep work, pre-production work for a Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past proper remake. They're going to put it on the DS. But again, nothing ever went anywhere because everyone was working full-time on the Wii U. Time passed. A full year, actually. To the month, by the way. Full year passed. And just after Skyward Sword launched, I dropped my thing. Very important. Just after Skyward Sword launched, they're like, okay, what do we work on next? Where do we want to go with Zelda? And several people are like, well, we've got that idea. Well, we've already gotten some of the tech and some of the resources done. We're like, yeah, but that's got to be in the 3DS now. Like, we can't put that on the DS. And like, yeah, that's a good point. After all, the 3DS by this point had been out for 10 months, and there was a lot of clamoring in the office to have a new Zelda on the 3DS. Between these two teams, you could kind of see where this went. So a lot of work was done initially on remaking LTTP on the 3DS, and then Aonuma got involved. And Aonuma was like, no, 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 no. Remember, this is the era of Zelda is old and stagnant, we've got to try something new. So he was a really big proponent of pushing for actually making this a completely new game rather than simply a remake of LTTP. Thus, the idea was kind of born to make this into a sequel. Now, they'd already done all those resources and art assets and all the design and layout of a lot of the levels, so they kind of had to keep the same rough principles. Like, they can't just throw all that stuff out the window, right? So they didn't. And if you ever wondered why this game looks so much like LTTP, it's uncanny, that's why. But they started working with it. They started remixing it and really finicking with individual notes of it. And they started doing something that I actually do approve of by memory. We'll see if this actually carries forward in actual review. And that is remixing ideas to play with expectations. If you're playing this, and this is like your first Zelda, or you've never played LTTP, you might not catch on a few things, but there's a lot of things they do which they pretty much think you're going to think A because you've played the previous game, and then they instead go B. They juke you. It is subverting expectations, but not The Last Jedi. So, they start messing around with this, and Miyamoto did something odd. He got involved in frontline development. He actually became a line producer for this game. Now, you're probably thinking, what? Hear me out for a second. Miyamoto, by this point in history, had already taken his step back. Some of you probably remember this when this happened, because it was considered really big news in the gaming space that Miyamoto was going to step down from being a line producer and just go back to being like more of an idea guy and a stamp person. And he's dipped in and out of that ever since, and that's true even as recently as this year. So he decided to get involved full-time because he really, really liked one of the ideas they had for this. It was this brand new thing. They were going to play with it. And I already told you what it is. It's the 2D and 3D thing. He thought that was cool. And if you pay any attention to Miyamoto, you know that he has this thing where he likes an idea, a concept or a gimmick, and he pushes it hard. So he wanted the entire game to be centered around this idea of the 2D, 3D thing. Okay, no big problem. But most of the other staff was like, that's it? Like, that's all you're doing? We've got to do something more than that. And this is when some weird feedback came in. Feedback specifically on spirit tracks. And that feedback was that several players would get stuck at a specific dungeon or a specific spot in a dungeon almost always before you get the item. And then the player would just put the game down because there's nothing else you could do. Once you've reached that particular point, you're screwed, right? There's nowhere else to progress. There's nothing else you can do other than grind your face into the wall until you progress. So they thought, how do we solve that? They came up with a bunch of ideas, but the rental system was the one that most people liked the most. That you could go into a dungeon, do part of a dungeon, leave the dungeon, and go to another dungeon. You wouldn't have to do a complete sweep and clear of any given dungeon your first time there. Now, this is innovative. This is something that's new to the Zelda series. This kind of mentality is something more along the lines of a Metroid kind of a thing, right? You dip into Norfair 3 separate times, even if you're playing perfectly, but each time is a kind of completing a different section you haven't completed before because you have access to more, or you have different items or whatever, right? So they wanted to lean into that pretty hard, and it completely changed how they did the dungeon design, because the overwhelming majority of Zelda games are designed as a 2-point system, especially from Link's Awakening onwards. There's the initial dungeon, and then there's the dungeon after the item. Usually they like to do some layering. So, like, the same screen is being traversed through both times, but the first time you have to avoid this stuff on the side, and the second time you can just barrel roll through it because you have the item in question. Now, that's actually a very common tactic when it comes to game design. It fulfills a degree of player feedback loop. It rewards the player for having successfully accomplished something by giving them something they already had issues with or already had to solve, and giving them a new, usually more fun and interesting way to solve it, and usually much quicker as well. In this case, they throw all that out the window completely, and instead you walk into the dungeon and you can start solving it immediately. As a consequence, several of the dungeons are a little bit shorter than some of the other ones, but it also means they can play with the dungeon design top to bottom. They don't have to have an initial segment of the dungeon the whole dungeon is like the second half of the dungeon. Whether this works for you or not is up to you, of course, but it is a noticeably different approach and mentality. Finally, actually, two last things here. Some of you probably remember that at this point, historically, Nintendo was really, really big on orchestral music. They made a really big shift over to that, too, with Mario Galaxy 1 on the Wii. And it's something they've been wanting to do for a while, and something they keep doing to this very day. They really wanted to do orchestral music on this game, too, but... And I'm a little bit weirded out by this. It was believed that the 3DS wouldn't be able to play orchestral music well. Now, if that sounds as weird to you as it does to me, that's cool, because, you know, I've played the Dragon Quest games with orchestral music on the 3DS. But anyways, so they decided to axe that entirely and go with mostly digital. However, several of the musicians and composers involved insisted they do at least some live sampling. Yeah, exactly, Dean Badine. So they did actually go and make their own live sound samples and then digitally inserted those and used those as MIDI stuff. But anyways, last thing I want to mention very, very briefly. You're probably wondering where the mural thing comes from. Does anybody know before I tell you? I'm actually curious. I suppose I shouldn't just have asked that question right there. So here's the deal. The mural thing was changed. Remember, the 2D thing was right at the very beginning. It was one of the bones of the whole game. But the mural thing wasn't added until well into production. And the reason that's so relevant is because the mural thing directly led to the creation of the character of Yuga, who wasn't in the game for the overwhelming majority of the early parts of development. Why is this important? Let's just say that the structure of the story makes a lot more sense if Yuga isn't in it. Leave it at that. I'll get into that more later. Oh, and the answer, of course, is Phantom Ganon from the Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time. Anyways, so let's go ahead and play this. It is a cool boss fight, but yeah, this came out 11 years ago. Can you believe that? Just gonna let it sit for a sec because there's an opening demo thing. Yeah, 3 Zeldas ago. I mentioned this earlier, this is the biggest gap in Zeldas we've ever had. There is a legend oft told in Hyrule Kingdom. It is the legend of the Triforce, once kept within Hyrule itself. Said to be a gift of the gods, the Triforce could grant a wish to all who touched it. So of course many wanted to get their hands on it. Wars were fought for the Triforce. The royal family summoned the 7 sages who sealed the Triforce in the sacred realm. But a thief of notorious repute broke into the sacred realm and claimed the Triforce. With its power he became the Demon King Ganon, who sought to dominate all of Hyrule. But just as Ganon had the kingdom in his evil clutches, a legendary hero answered the call of Hyrule's princess. And and this hero wielding the Master Sword took up a quest to challenge Ganon's might. He joined with the descendants of the Seven Sages to seal the Demon King in darkness. No, we killed his ass. The Triforce was divided into 3, its tempting power out of any one person's reach. One part stayed with the royal family, while another slipped into Ganon's possession. Oh, absolutely believable. Legend says the third part found its home in the heart of a hero eternal. And while legends come to us from distant past, others have yet to be written. So how much of a direct sequel this is to LTTP is a little bit debatable, but here's the relevance. Timeline-wise, well, let's ignore the official timeline because we all know how nonsense that is. In terms of the way that it actually matters, it goes L2TP, then Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages, Link's Awakening. Then some time passes, several generations, then we have Link Between Worlds. Then a few more generations are going to pass, then we have Zelda 1 and Zelda 2. And all of that connects with itself pretty well. Let's go and delete this guy. Right. I actually did a lot of Street Pass stuff back in the day, but that's when it was hitting the convention scene pretty regularly. So I just leave my 3DS on, but closed in my pocket as I walked around the convention center. Get a few thousand dings. It was actually pretty fun. Huh. Still sleeping. Wake up! Come on, how long are you gonna sleep, Lore? Yeah, we're always narcoleptic. I have to wake you up every morning. I have chores to do. I'll be waiting outside, so get up and let's get going. Sure, but like first, before we talk, Papa was really angry. He said you can't be a blacksmith if you don't get up at the crack of dawn. This mask, it speaks to me. It calls to me. Yes. Yes. Oh, sorry. But yes, this is a different Link. This is a unique Link. There's only... this Link only has this game to his name. Let me put that in more proper terminology. And if you're paying attention, that means there are exactly 3 Links in this particular story arc. LTTP, the Oracles, and Link's Awakening. This one. And then 1 and 2. And yeah, we go back to the Blacksmith's Son thing. And Braglin, which is going back towards Colony Ship. Pokemon Violet. Splinter Cell, Chaos Theory. So, I actually do have something to talk about here very, very briefly. This is Majora's Mask. Does this mean anything? No. I hate to lay that down so solidly, but something that I have admittedly gotten more and more tired of over the last 2 decades is people have this tendency to see every tiny little Easter egg or fan service thing or reference and say, oh my god, it means it was his sled, and just go completely nuts over something. It's just an Easter egg. It's Majora's Mask, haha. That's it. Yeah, Shinra and FF10, or 10-2 rather. Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. Moving on. First and foremost, I do like the increase in doodad design. One thing LTTP did not score particularly well on was doodad design. That is to say, they got virtually none, because there was virtually none. We'll drop that down really quick. And yeah, I know that they were developing Majora's Mask 3D at this point in time, and ruining it! We're playing that version, by the way. But anyways. But that just makes my point completely clear. This has nothing to do with anything in lore. There's no big expose thing. I'm not going to spend a 3-hour essay video talking about, did you see the one thing that Nintendo didn't want you? No, it's all stupid. It's a reference. We're done. Moving on. So I should mention something that's probably obvious in hindsight, and we've actually seen this quite a bit. In fact, we've seen this so much that they've even officially shown us this, and considering that this is Nintendo, and they don't like officially showing us anything, that's pretty impressive. See, the game looks pretty good, right? Well, that's a shame, because for some reason this is behind everything? That's strange. Hang on a second. Having issues. One moment. One moment. There we go. So this is how they pull off this trick. Because they wanted to have this top-down view. But the problem was LTTP technically is not actually a top-down game. It's an isometric game. And so when they actually rendered the game in top-down, it looked wrong. And you had trouble telling what was what and so on and so forth. So as you can see in the right picture here, over here, everything in the game is slanted. You can actually see this yourself in the game. By just messing with the camera for a little bit. And it looks wild, if I could just be so blunt. But, anyways, that was their solution, was everything in the world is just kind of like... Anyways, hem. And no, I don't think I did, Talia said. But anyways, moving on, moving on. Papa's steaming mad that you're late again. Come on, let's get to his shop. Oh, almost forgot. Don't forget to check in here. What do you mean, where? With the weather vane. Duh. Always give that a spin when you pass by. That'll let you save. Papa says you should always do that. I'm really sure what saving is. I'm just a kid. Nobody tells me anything. Anyways, I'm going to run on ahead. Catch you after you spin the vane. So I cannot go any further without doing the time-honored tradition of looking at the grass. I didn't remember to save. What's interesting is the grass is, I don't want to sound derogatory, the same. There's really only one very, very minor variance in the grass, and that is the fact that there's an actual texture to the main grass, other than it just being a straight grain thing. That's still good. It's copying the same design and for the same reasons. In other words, rather than just being a bullet point syndrome, they looked at what worked, said, that's a good idea, let's go ahead and do that, and then they repeated it. You also notice that, well, it's probably not super obvious, but that's a texture, but like those little tufts of grass, those are actually something rendered on top of it, just like the flowers are, and just like this stuff is. So it does add a little bit of depth to it. Yeah, I'm very anti-traditionalist, because tradition means doing something without reason. By contrast, this is doing something for a very good reason, because it worked. We don't use wheels because they're pretty, we use them because they freaking work. And yeah, that's like the clouds, just adding a bit of ambiance there. Jot that on as question mark. Now, I want to point out the map very, very briefly. First of all, it's the same general quality of map that it was last time. I know you can't see it that well because it's right here, and it's super tiny, but trust me when I say, it's the same general quality of map for the same general reason. It's decently indicative and blah, blah, blah. It does get an additional positive because I've got this little thing. I can say Bwong, I can put pins in the map. And trust me, this is something I used a lot back in the day. So I can be like, hey, let's put this over here. Pins are useful. You can also color the pins, if you feel like it. And you can also just return them like that. So, good map plus map marker equals 2 positives to map. And let's be clear, the music's probably going to be doing pretty well. So I'm not sure how well, but it's definitely going to be doing well. Almost everything in this game is a remix of LTTP, but not everything. We'll debate the controls as we go. I'm pretty sure the game controls pretty damn well. Rupees, that's rare we talk about rupees. In fact, we only really talked about it once over in Breath of the Wild. Overall move speed is decent. It's a little bit faster pound for pound than the previous one. I've only played this game once before. Played Jabal. Actually, I even just said that. And I know there's stutters and I know there's load times. There's nothing I can do about it. It's a 3DS. Streaming from a 3DS is always going to be a nightmare. Better head inside. My papa's waiting, Lore. Okay, jeez. Alright, so tell me, how's that shield suit you, Captain? Superb black as always, but I'd expect nothing less from a master. I'll do what I can, Captain. Also helps I have a good source of ore. That shield's tougher than ever now. I wouldn't trust my gear with anyone else. No one can bring the best out of a sword quite like you. So if you'll excuse me, it's time that I forge ahead. Busy day! Oh, who's this? Farewell! If it isn't Law. Slept late again? You sure you're cut out to be a blacksmith? I have several medals. It's not my business to say, but you'd better mend your ways, lad. There's no future in being a layabout. Humph. Late again? Oh, come on, get over here. Time to get to work. I've been yelled at by 3 separate people for something I didn't even do. The captain left without taking his new sword. What? He's gone off unarmed. He's a dead man. Lucky you. Instead of getting earful, you've got an errand. Take that sword. Hurry after the captain. Hurry, run after the captain. What now? Don't you know where to go? Where else? He's got to be heading back to Hyrule Castle. Still groggy? Fine. Look, I marked it on a map, so go. Do you even have breakfast yet? As soon as you come back, I'll make sure you eat before work. Oh, and don't fret about the sourpuss. I'm sure he'll forget about you sleeping late by the time you get back. I mean, considering it was designed to be one initially, Ross. Hammer never misses when I work for the missus. Doop, 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 doo. But the hammer's always faster when it's for the master. Doop, 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 doo. Actually makes me tack on that second verse there. Huh. Done already? You gonna have easy or something? No. I have to go save the world. Sort of. So speaking of someone who knows LTTP extremely well, several parts of this game look very, very, very similar to LTTP. As in, to the tile similar. But not all of it does. This ramp, this is new. This little back path here, this is different and in a different slot. This room is completely different, shorter than it was, and the windows are different. This is a little bit offset. You know, I could point out little details, but if you did a side-by-side, one-by-one comparison, you would see the variances. But there are some things that are pretty similar, like that well that we can jump into, but we can't do that until we actually have the ability to pick up those stones. Vendor guy is still here. Please forgive me, I'm still getting set up. Whoop. Setting up shop. Come back, that But in a couple of cases, like this screen right here, this is near identical with a couple of additional accoutrements. So you can really feel that vibe. And as I already pointed out, they really wanted to play with the, oh, you're familiar with LTTP, right? Crowd. Which I am obviously a part of, as I just showed. But we're going to roam for a little bit. Let's see what we got here, shall we? No, don't. Also, we have the zoomed-in version of the map, which actually shows some icons, which is even better. Naughty child grabbed one of my cuckoos. He probably wanted to jump up a roof with it. Gliding with a cuckoo is fun, but I can't stand it when kids take my cuckoos. Bye. I know. I'm not actually going to take it. Or am I? Notice that we've got a little bit of ocarina music in here, too. Oh, I agree, Kitten Fan. Although it's obviously physically impossible for me to, look at this from the perspective of not knowing anything about LTTP. So there's one of the mini games. I know we can't do that yet. So it looks like they're not letting us do like any of the town yet, which is okay, of course. We're up to 2 weather vanes now. Listen, kid, I didn't do it, whatever it was, so just leave me alone, okay? Sure thing, shady dude. Sure thing. Ever stop to think about how many times we just pass right on people in the street, all our life? Well, it's like there's a street pass. There's a thing about street pass. Let me explain street pass to you. Not that I am aware of, Dream Whisperer, no. So we can't do anything in here. Completely different than what it used to be. Is it a negative? We'll see. If there's one negative this game might get that LTTP didn't, it would be seconds and minutes, because... Well, there's no nice way to put this, but most modern games fall into the seconds and minutes trap. They like to show off their animations and their graphics, and they like to not allow the player to just play the frickin' game. Older games tend to bypass that, mostly because they didn't have the technical capacity to be fancy about it. LTTP had 0 padding, because... What are they going to do, right? There's no padding to be put into a SNES game that came out in 1991, And yeah, load times, that's another example. I scrub and scrub, and still this painting won't come off. Ugh. These guys from the title screen. We've been up since dawn washing the paintings off the wall. Crummy joke, if you ask me. Do you need to take a break? No. Morning, Lore. What brings you here so early? Deliver for the captain. He's not at the castle. I know he's headed to your master's shop. Oh, you bumped into him there. Well, I know he was planning on visiting the sanctuary. He probably got hung up there. Hope he comes back soon. We had an outbreak of vandalism. All over the walls. Paintings everywhere. Anyway, if you need to find him, I'd say head north of the castle. That's where the sanctuary is. That always a shortcut. Thanks, dude. I do love how we're just carrying this little wrapped sword. Grab this while we're here. Oh, look who's here. Welcome to the sanctuary, Laura. Eager as ever, aren't you? Is there something I can help you with? I see. You're looking for the captain. Well, you're at the right place. He's come to see my father. The captain forgot his sword. Oh, how unlike him to be so careless. Just a moment. I'll fetch him for you. Coming and going, going and coming. Captain stops by here more than anyone. Think he wants to yak with the priest? No, sir. He's just making excuses to see Sarah's there. She hasn't got a clue either, but I suppose that's what's so lovely about Sarah's. Carefree as a bird. Oh, I wish I was having sex with her right now. Anyway, Gold Dampe sees more than people think. Like those paintings on the castle wall this morning. There's trouble, What's happening in there? The doors are shut tight. Can't get them open. What are we gonna do? That was Sarah's crying out. Dampe doesn't have a key. Dampe just digs graves around. Wait. Dampe remembers. Dampe once heard the priest talking about a secret way into the sanctuary, hidden right in my graveyard. Bad luck, Dampe thinks, messing around with graves. Worse luck going under the ground. But you do it. You get so scared, just swing that sword around. What's scared? What's scared? What sword? That sword you got there. Dampe heard you say it belongs to the captain, but who cares? It's for a delivery. Forget that. Get to swinging that sword. But I can't. Saving Saris is way more important than some delivery. You're using that sword, even if Dampe has to tie it to your hand. If I have to. You got a sword, sort of, anyway. Captain won't mind if you borrow it. Alright, Dampe would help, but these old bones are falling apart as is. Go find the secret passage. It's okay, I know exactly where it is. Because I've played LTTP, and it's right here. Yeah. Not what I was expecting, admittedly. That's a good reach on that swing. Look at that. Look at that. That's solid. Good range, good reach. I like it. Friendoka, thank you very, very much for the sub. As always. I haven't seen your name in a while. Hope you're doing alright. And, as usual, if you would like to put that towards up to 3 things to increase interest in future streams, please let me know. Yeah, no, that thing is huge. I like it. In a game like this, you generally want it to be a large swing radius, because otherwise you have the Zelda 2 problem. No, I have not. I haven't even watched it yet, Friendoka. You got the lamp. Our first item. Listen, I hate pottery. I hate pottery. Die, pottery. Light the 2 torches. Well, okay. Ew, rats. And a heart piece. And a chest. No magic bar now. We've just got fire. All the fire. Oh yeah, let's see if the coin says, will Dragon Age 4 be worth a damn? Nope. A lot of snakes. A lot of rats. A lot more objects on the screen at the same time. I guess it'd be a better way to phrase it. Whoa there, buddy. Whoa there. Also, no wallet. But of course there's no wallet. This is a 2D Zelda. You got a key. Yeah, I was going to watch it during the lunch break, but I barely had time to eat lunch during the lunch break, so I didn't get around to it. Maybe that's why they're so close to each other, Train Whisperer. Also our first red room. Notice they're starting off with the red rooms very, very early. So we've had basic navigation. We've had basic combat. Because you can skip all the navigation in the previous room. Excuse me, you can skip all the combat in the previous room. God, I cannot talk today. And of course, if you pick the right thing, because obviously the right one is the correct one, it actually is the wrong one. Because screw you and your expectations. Well, I already flipped to Trihexia, but as for Mass Effect 5, apparently Mass Effect 5 might actually come out. What do you want with Ceres? I swear, if you hurt my daughter... What sort of fiend dares defile a sanctuary in this manner? A fiend? How easily you stoop to petty insults. My name is Yuga, and I have come here seeking nothing less than... perfection. And you, my dear, are perfection. How can you stand being so lovely, surrounded by these filthy fools? I will put you on a pedestal, or rather upon a wall. Perfect forever. Really, really, really low tier Trihexia. Probably below Vati. No. As I suspected, you're even lovelier as a painting. I think your grace will be most pleased. Oh, what have we here? Another worm comes wriggling in. How did you get in the sanctuary, Lore? Run, child! Why do you just stand there? Run! Not even the captain stood a chance against him. I believe this worm here wishes to tangle with me. Come on, then. Wriggle, wriggle, little worm. Oh, Lore! You think you can challenge me? Why, I am the portrait of perfection. Well, all of you, merely scribbles and squiggles. The very sight of you offends my eyes. Still, I'll be leaving this ugly world soon enough. Get out of my way. Not even that captain of yours could stand against my might. For all his spit and polish, he made but a crude doodle on the wall, a waste of my magic. Farewell, fools. I'm off to acquire what little perfection I can find in this gaudy world of yours. No, don't take my Ceres. Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Girahim, honestly. We'll see which character I end up liking better. Oh man, that was a terrible nightmare. You're finally awake. I guess they caught you trying to cross the border. Sorry. Ah! So this is Ravio. We are Link. What you may or may not be aware of is the fact that in shipping circles there is a common practice to combine the name of two people in order to show that you have shipped those two people together. Naturally, that means Ravio and Link are ravioli. Oh, you're waking up. Good. I was starting to worry about you, buddy. The name's Ravio. Hey, you listening to me? What, the rug tastes really good or something? I'm a traveling merchant. I found you in the sanctuary. Passed out, alone. Strange if you ask me. It looked like you needed a pal, so I took the liberty of lugging you to this vacant house. Ooh, yawn. It seemed like the perfect place for you to shake off the snores. Look, I'm working on it, dude. I'm running on very little sleep here, okay? What do you want from me? Say, what? This is your house? Looked empty-ish to me. Wait, so tell me, what happened to you, buddy? You don't say. Some strange man turned a girl into a painting. So you got done in trying to stop him, huh? That makes you a hero, buddy. A real, live, genuine hero. Why are you standing around talking to me, then? You gotta report this to the castle. Oh, hey, wait a minute. To tell you the truth, I've been looking for a place to stay. It's been hard to find somewhere good, so this is awkward. Do you mind if I stay here for a while? Just a couple of days, I promise. No way. What? Say it's not so. But aren't we buddies? You'd kick me out into that cruel, cruel world out there? Please? You don't know what it's like trying to get some shut-eye with all those creepy crawlies. I know it's your place, but I feel so at home here. I wonder why. Pretty please get out! What? Really? If you insist. Really? Oh, thanks a million. Finally, no more sleeping in the wild. Tough world out there, you know? Here, take this. I can't pay rent yet, but it's something, at least. It's a bracelet. Pretty old, but a gift's a gift. I know it looks like a hunk of junk, but it's older than old. Real treasure, that thing. What? What odor? You don't want it because it smells funny? That's the smell of history, buddy. Musty leather, moldy aromas. The rich fragrance of a relic. Okay, fine, I'll admit it smells like a wet dog, but you gotta know, that's a good smell. Besides, it's a gift, so the least you can do is wear it, buddy. Now, pronto, buddy, to the castle! Hurry! Was the priest alright? I don't know. Maybe. Probably. All I know is you've got to get to the news to Hyrule Castle. Now, pronto! Go to the castle! Hurry! Okay, hang on. Well, you think I should go? Have you seen what I'm wearing? They never believe me. Anyway, stop wasting my time and just make haste to the castle. Yes. Yes, I understand everything. Yes. Yes! Oh, sorry. Bye now. See you, Mr. Hero. Rotten hell, Ravio. Oh yeah, speaking of which. We can shatter pots again. That wasn't an LTTB because I hadn't invented that yet. Ravio must die. Here's some tutorials. Here's some more tutorials. I am forbidden to engage in personal conversational training. Spear's so heavy it's doing my back in. I wish I had a sword like you. Dude, you have a spear! What's the point of all these drills in our kingdom? So always so quiet. Yeah, why have a military? That's just ridiculous. After all, the military's only purpose is to kill people. Right? Right, Gene? After working, I'll probably head to the milk bar. I'm a regular. I went to see the fortune teller this morning. He said I'd have the worst day of my life today. His fortunes usually come true. I better be prepared for anything. So certainly an interesting take on the castle theme. There's a lot of interesting takes on some of the music here. We do get the vibe and idea that this Hyrule has been at peace for quite a while. And hasn't had to deal with anything for quite a while. Probably since LTTP. Which is interesting because a lot of Zelda games start with the country in such a state of prosperity that they're completely unprepared for the damaging thing when it comes. Right? For whatever doom shows up. Twilight Princess pulls this exact same trick. And I don't know. It's interesting to think about because one of the only Zeldas to really subvert that is LTTP. Where the game starts when things have already gotten bad, been bad for a while, and are like this close to tipping over into overall Screwedville. And you're like right there holding back the tide, which admittedly I enjoy. I enjoy that vibe, as I showed off quite a bit in LTTP. It's interesting, though, that they don't go back to that very often. They don't go back to that well. Instead, most Zelda games are like, everything's fine, doom. Spirit Tracks pulled that as well. In fact, honestly, arguably so did Wind Waker. And so did Ocarina, and so does this one. Now, Breath is interesting, because in Breath, like, the apocalypse happened, you lost 100 years of pause, and that's when the game starts. So Breath is kind of doing its own thing. Oh, hold your horses, so not anyone gets in the palace. Say the captain was turned into a what now? A painting? Ceres was too? And Princess Zelda needs to know right away, huh? Look, I get you want to see the princess, but that's a whopper of a story. My word, what in Hyrule is all this shouting about, guard? Sorry, Lady Impa. This lad here has a message for Princess Zelda, and it's as far-fetched as it gets. Is that so? What is this message? Well, yeah, Zelda 1 was post-apocalypse because Breath of the Wild, and vice versa. Indeed. Ceres was transformed into a painting. But that's... well, frankly, it's beyond belief. Then again, strange paintings are popping up all over the castle. There may be something to all this. Yes, I wonder. Quickly come with me. You've got to tell Princess Zelda what you saw at the sanctuary. You're taking this boy at his word, Lady Impa? Yeah, your hat's dorky, too. Such a weird take on this song. Wait here while I announce you the princess. Feel free to take a close look at her gallery. Now that I think about it, so Lufia 1. Zelda 1 and Zelda Breath of the Wild are both, you know, apocalypse has already happened. Zelda 2 is actually probably the most unique one. The apocalypse happened, and then was stopped, and now we're in the recovery phase. And then we've got LTTP. Oh, wow. I didn't even get a chance to look at anything. Then we've got LTTP, Ocarina, Minish Cap, Link Between Worlds, Spirit Tracks, Wind Waker. Oh, Wind Waker's kind of unique too, but so that's at least like 5 other games that are all middle of piece and are good. And then LTTP, which is right before the apocalypse. Okay, let's look at these really quick. Paintings here are spectacular, but they also tell of our legendary past and of the 7 sages. Look at the symbols for the order of events. Yeah, that's great. We've actually already seen all this stuff, because this is the story from the beginning. Yeah, I kind of deliberately stepped over tears for obvious reasons. Majora's Mask is a weird one, because, yeah, it's right after an apocalypse was completely averted, but also right in the middle of one that's about, or technically right before one that's about to happen. But it's a very, very different vibe from LTTP, whereas LTTP is the overwhelming dread of the impending apocalypse. This is Majora's Mask. Oh yeah, then there's Four Swords, which is Peaceful Beatific Kingdom, which is then interrupted. So there's another one. I bid you the fondest welcome to Hyrule Castle, stranger. I hear you have something to... Wait, it's you. Forgive me, might I ask your name? But, Stallion, while your name is unfamiliar to me, I've seen your face in my dreams of late, for I've dreamt of a hero locked in battle with a terrible evil. What, you've had the same dream? Surely fate has sent you here. Please tell me what you saw at the sanctuary. Agreed, Blade Devil. Yeah, she's pretty much just at a 45-degree angle there. Ceres has been transformed into a painting, and the captain as well. Since terrible darkness behind these events. Impa, I fear evil is awakening once more in our fair land. Fret not, princess. I'd advise we consult Sahasrara for help. The elder's knowledge of the past, well, it's more than vast. Yes, of course, that's just where to start. So, Lore, would you please find Sahasrara? The elder should be at home in Kakariko Village. I am certain he'll be able to help. Just one more thing. I would like to send you off with my most treasured possession. It's a rather special charm. Are you sure about this, princess? The royal family has kept that safe for untold generations. Quite sure, Lady Impa. This has been in my safekeeping since the day I was born. I entrust it to you. Please take good care of this charm. You'll have need of it soon. You are the one from my dreams. You got the Pendant of Courage. Please tell Sahasrara everything you saw. Listen, the Nintendo franchise... I'm saying that, God, I can't talk. The Zelda franchise is secretly just Germany. Everyone just keeps repeating the same names over and over and over again. Because, no, it's a different Sahasrara. This is generations later, but of course there's another old man, wizened old man, who happens to have the exact same name. I get it, I do, but I do think Nintendo does this a little bit too often. It's probably one of the reasons why characters like Midna, or Groose, or Ravio stick out so much in my mind, because they don't just repeat the same freaking character names and beats and personalities over and over and over. Now, I know, there's this whole thing with reincarnation in this setting, and it's dumb, and it's dumb, and it's dumb. Any questions? Now I want to test something, because I'm weird. I mean, that's true, Talia. I don't believe in reincarnation. But I'm also sick of it, which is the other side of that. Like, goddamn, I get having a few recurring characters, but even Final Fantasy doesn't have Cecil in every single game, you know? It's humanization, like a proper person should. And yes, the FF audit is a real thing. There's technically several pieces to the FF audit, because life is complicated. But it's a real stream that'll really happen. Probably not this year, though, because this year we've got a lot of stuff to go through, and I'm moving. And we've got 2 expansions to go through. 2 expansions. Jesus Christ, lore. 2 MMOs to go through this year. Minimum. So I was just going to go this way and, you know, go straight to Sahasrara. Apparently, no. Exactly Star Wars. And that's why Midna is a more interesting character than every Zelda and Link combined. Thank you, humanization. I do appreciate you. Let's see, that's going towards the Kingdom Hearts block. I mean, there's a lot of possibility for you playing someone else. Like, a lot. But no, we play as Link. Sea of Stars. Not to be confused with the Secret of Stars. Different game, different game. I mean, so far... You know, I don't even care. So far, the best 2D Zelda is LTTP. Admittedly, a little bit to my surprise. I figured Four Swords Adventures might eke it out. Frankly, Four Swords Adventures with a good story would crush LTTP. But Four Swords Adventures has no story to speak of, which is the problem. Minish Cap also just kind of killed it. And again, if not for the outro kind of being its thing, it probably would be very high as well. All 3 are pretty close to each other in terms of overall score, though. So the question becomes, where's this one going to land? I have no idea. Hello, Zar. You've been playing for a while. Why not take a break? Go directly to hell. Just a hello. What a polite young man you are. And to a witch as old as I am, you don't see that much these days. Have a sip of this potion I'm brewing if you'd like. Well, thank you. So, I forget what the star one does. The sword one is obvious. Magic, health. Zora's Domain. Oh, that's easy. I'll just go... The sword one's extremely obvious. What it does is... And once you drink the sword potion, it'll... Although, actually, that is a good point. For review purposes, we should actually talk to her and see if she tells us what it does. I want to buy... I can only pick the red potion for now, unless you bring me necessary bits and pieces. Okay, hang on. Whoop! Yeah, honestly, Kume and Kutake's introduction into the oracles was kind of weird. Drink this to damage all surrounding enemies. 10 monster guts. Yellow potion. Make yourself invincible for a short time. 10 monster horns. And blue potion. Ah, restores all of your hearts. 10 monster tails. Time to go monster hunting. And sued. Alright, do you really want to know, Ross? Do you really want to know? Is it something you can withstand? Can you live with the knowledge? Burning deep in your heart. Because I'd have to go Google it, I don't know. And by Google it, I mean look it up on my website that I have. Can someone go check really quick what LTP score was, please? I keep thinking about a way to set up a series of chat commands to just be able to pull up, thank you, Frieza, a score in chat. The problem, though, is there's just not really a lot of ways to do that are feasible. Not without just setting up hundreds and hundreds of commands. And just doing each one as an individual thing. Like, I could type out a command that is ! Zelda LTTP, and then it'd be like, aha! You know, there you go. There's that command. But what if you typed in Link to the Past, or LTTP, or Zelda, a Link to the Past, or put spaces in there, you get it. It would only work into very specific circumstances, and not everyone spells or pronounces the same game names the same way. Give me this bottle, or I will kill you. Thank you. Come back soon. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, but that wouldn't really suffice for someone to be able to just pop in a chat and be like, I wonder what such and such scored. Long. I mean, granted, it doesn't take long to hit the website. It is a very organized sheet on the website. And you could search in it, or you could sort it by anything. But still. I've been thinking about it. Right, let's go talk to Sahasrala's wife, I suppose. What are you doing? Looking for Sahasrala, maybe? The other should be inside his house. Yeah, I think. Does have any visual mods? Not that I'm aware of, no. It might be because the screen is kind of small. I don't know. Yeah, website, Control F. That's pretty much the current method. Stop. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Damn it, Kane. It's you, Laura. The look on your face, so grim, child. What's the matter? Ceres was turned into a what? A painting? And then she was stolen away. And Princess Zelda sent you to tell... Oh, I see. This can only mean one thing. I'm sure you've heard the legends of old about the Seven Sages and the hero who saved Hyrule. Yes, I just did that like 2 hours ago. Ceres is a descendant of the original Seven Sages who sealed Ganon in darkness all those years ago. And because we're obsessed with bloodlines in Japan for some reason, this Yuga you speak of, he must be after the Seven Sages of our day. He surely intends to free Ganon. Oh no! I heard rumors of a strange man lurking near the Eastern Palace. I sent my pupil Asfala to investigate. We're in danger, for he's also a descendant of the Seven Sages. I'm sure Yuga will be waiting for him. Never make it in time to warn him, but you, Law. Could you hurry to Asfala and tell him everything, please? I've made a note of the location on your map. It is your primary objective to go to this spot as quickly as you possibly can. Yeah, all the sages they just got in a pile, and some genetics happened. Don't think about that too much. Did the master give you permission to play with your swords? Wait, I bet you heard that old man over there calling for people with swords to come talk to him. No? Let's talk about something called the Street Pass. When I took my daughter to play, he said only people with swords can get in on the action. I don't know what a Street Pass is, but it sounds like a crazy good time. This area is completely different in this version, because this has the Cuckoo Ranch. Welcome to the Cuckoo Ranch. Come to play with our cutesy Cuckoos? Yeah, of course! Of course! I just knew you wanted to play. The Cuckoos will be pleased as punch. And the rules are simple. You go and try to dodge Cuckoos that come flying at you for 30 seconds. It starts with the egg level. It's 20 rupees. I don't actually have 20 rupees. I do like the little visual indicator of exactly where your circle is, by the way. It's unnecessary, but as with so many light touches, it's a nice touch. $1,000. Yeah. Let's do it. I'm gonna die in like 3 seconds. Oh god, it's Baron! Who's ready to get me killed by Cuckoos? Nicely done. Here's your prize. 40 rupees. And thank you, Baron, as always. Australia now has the best fast food item ever. What would the best fast food item ever be? I'm trying to think of even a joking answer to that one. That's going to be going to water glug. Kirby block, Yakuza block 1, and buckshot roulette, which you have added a very interesting game to the list, Langdisburn. I almost said no, but and thank you, Eitri, for being part of the show. As always, I will jot that down. SteamWorld block. Master of Orion. And Empire of Sin. Whoa! Dude! I'm walking here. I guess standing, actually. It's even worse when you think about it. Ready to rush? Aw, sorry. Actually, we're not open yet. Cute little thing, you. Don't you worry, Rupee Rush will be open quicker than 2 shakes of a Kuko's tail feathers. Right. A KFC Double Down. So, remind me what a KFC Double Down is really quick. I would rather not. Star Wars, admittedly. Horror games in general are verboten. And for good reason. There's not a lot of benefit for someone like me covering something like a horror game. Hey, you come to play with me, Laura. Said all those animals. They always come running when I show up. It's weird. They run if anyone else comes along. I wonder why. The more the merrier, that's what I think. Yeah. That sounds pretty good, Ross. Yeah, speaking of which, KFC actually offered something I really liked. This is a true statement. For one day, or at least I discovered it one day before they immediately discontinued it. It was the thing where it was like pizza, like pepperoni and cheese on a chicken patty. Hi, waffle. Yeah, the chizza or whatever it was. I unironically liked that. And I actually went to get it a second time. It was gone. Cool. I actually looked over the rest of their menu like, well, there's nothing else there for me. Hey, there's Ravio signs. Are you the adventuring type? If I got the items for you, visit me south of the castle. Ravio! Listen, he might be a plus to story, but I'm still gonna kill him. He stole my house. He stole my rupees. He stole my heart. And that was incredible comedic timing. I mean, I was actually thinking about this. Why does this have to be generationally separate from LTTP? Set this like 5 years later, 10 years later. They've had nothing but peace and prosperity for nigh into a decade. And, you know, everything's settled. Everyone's aged a little bit, but not too much. Everyone's still around, and then BAM! The events of the game happen. But no, it's got to be generations for some friggin' reason. Possibly centuries. My favorite thing is I'm lowballing it hard when I talk about generations. Because most of the time, when most of the actual developers interview, they mention centuries or millennia. The most obvious example of this in-game is Breath of the Wild. But they talk about this constantly, and in pretty much any of those things. It's just giant time gaps. And it's like, what is your obsession with these? Anyways. You said it was alright to stay here, so I made myself at... What happened? See, now I want to generate Star Trek Generations and Zelda crossover. What's that? You saw my signs at the Eastern Palace, did you? I was going to open a store near the palace, but when I saw all the monsters, I hightailed it out of there. Way too many monsters around there for my liking. You get me? But I seem to recall some stone pedestals near my signs. Did you see a symbol on them? Oh, you did? Remember what the symbol was? Yeah, it was the freaking bow. That's right, it was a bow. Mind you of anything? Like maybe... this? Wait, you don't like Star Trek Generations, Dahlia? Oh, sorry. I meant the next generation, Talia. TNG. Not the movie. The movie's dumb. Normally I'd charge you a rental fee, but I'll lend this one to you free. This time, anyway. But I'll be taking that back if anything happens to you out there. So they actually came across... they came up with several different ideas for how to do... I am extremely tired, yes. I might cut off early today. I don't want to skimp on this game of all games. They almost came up with another idea entirely for the rental mechanic. As it is right now... you don't need to buy any of the items, unless you want to do the upgrade stuff. You can just keep the rentals for the whole game, and most speedruns do exactly that, because most speedruns don't die. If you die, it goes back. Cool. One of the original ideas they had, that they axed almost immediately, was a timer. Thank God for that. Because I guarantee you right now, if there's one thing that would ruin this game, it's being able to rent an item for like 20 minutes and then having to return it. Can you imagine that? Really picture that for a second. Being in the middle of a dungeon, aiming the bow, up, your time's up. Or yeah, during a boss fight. I mean, they might be able to work over that. Like maybe it doesn't happen if you meet the boss fight first. But that would be awful. If you want, we like to play a game every now and again. It's the minimum change game. The idea is to make something much, much better or much, much worse with as few of changes as possible. And if you want to absolutely ruin this game with one change, that's the change right there. 20-minute rentals. Yeah, like, again, Episode 1 is one of my favorite minimum change games. I've heard a lot of different opinions out over the years. My answer is the one Ross just gave, but I've thought that out long and hard. Giving items durability like Breath of the Wild would be better or worse than the timer. That was another idea they considered, actually. I was going to bring that up later. Just, yikes. One moment, please. I have just been informed that I am now responsible for dinner tonight. So enjoy some good music. I don't know, I was feeling subs. What do you think, Ogram? There's a joint not too far from here that's on DoorDash. Local joint, local sandwich joint. Okay. This is the energy gauge. This is actually another idea I rather like. So, if you've been paying attention, the 3 games we played back-to-back all have a different casting mechanism. We've already seen the ammo system that was being used over in LTTP. We've already seen the cooldown system that was being used over in Four Swords Adventures. And now we're seeing the universal restoring resource system, which is not what it's called, but goddammit, I can't word right now. If you've studied any RPGs ever, all 3 of these systems should be familiar to you. Some classes, for example, or some abilities or some kit rely on cooldowns. You can do this every few seconds. Some rely on resources that they spend that slowly come back. That's this system right here. And some just have straight up ammo. That's Link to the Past. I find this interesting because this is the system that offers a fairly large amount of malleability, but at the same time forces you to be more careful with what you use on what. Let me explain what I mean by that. In LTTP, if you happen to have bombs, arrows, and the hook shot on you, you could use all 3 of those pretty much back-to-back without any issue. Or on the same boss fight, for example. Because none of them cross-connect, right? None of them share. However, the detriment of that system is the fact that you have to have bombs, arrows, and then the items separate from each other in order to make that happen. So you're effectively farming the items twice in order to actually have the ammunition. Cooldown system works perfectly well depending on how the cooldowns operate. Usually it's a cooldown per item, in which case you can then use the 3 items concurrently. Four Swords doesn't really do that because you're limited to 1 item per, so we'll just ignore that. This game, you can't do a lot of crossing over thing because if you use the bow a bunch and then switch over to, say, the hook shot, and then try to use the hook shot, well, you're still out of magic meter. The only magic meter, which is used for everything. So, it's a bit of a trade-off. Right. I should go ahead and do this. Nope, wrong one. So there's how the bow works. You can kind of already see how it operates and how quickly the magic meter comes back. And yes, we are a crazy clownman. Still, the bow feels smart and snappy, so there's no complaints from me here. Do not blow up wall. Strange creature inside. Got it. Get bombs. Blow up wall. Foul fruit. One bite will make you squeal so loud you can stun nearby enemies. Oh, no, I'm good. Mysterious fruit that takes you to dungeon's entrance. So, the scoot fruit. And of course, the shield, which we will go ahead and buy. I can't argue against that, Rex, but I have to admit I just don't really have that issue. It's always been weird for me, because everyone's like, oh my god, you're always hoarding that one last potion, and I don't do that. I haven't done that in years. I'm just too used to speedrunning. And when we're trying to get through a game fast, you don't hold on to potions. You use them. So there's the rate of magic renewal? Regeneration. There we go. Jeez Louise. And as you can see, we have about enough for 4 shots before we have to start refilling. It's also a gradient. I do like gradients. So that's nice. Well, we'll find out in Star Wars. That's sort of the purpose of these reviews. I am quite curious to find out myself, because let's be honest with ourselves. That is probably this game's direct competition, is Link to the Past. At the very least, it's going to be up there, right? We know it's going to be up there with the big 3. LTTP, Minish Cap, and Four Swords Adventures all scored bonkers well. You! Stop where you are. What are you doing here at the Eastern Palace? Oh, my apologies, I thought you were someone I'm looking for. Aren't you Law? You're the blacksmith's apprentice, right? But what brings you all the way to the Eastern Palace? Vile deeds at the sanctuary. My master sent you to fetch me back to safety. This Yugo you speak of, surely he's cause for grave concern, but why should Sahasrara be worried about me? I'm a descendant of the original 7 sages. I am just as powerful as they were. Even got myself a sand rod, so I'm more or less invincible. Bold talk, you might say, but it's simply the truth. I'll get to the bottom of all this Yuga nonsense. Now farewell to you, Law. Getting a lot of fast travel points. See, admittedly, and I don't want to make anyone think this way, but if I was doing the guessing game myself, I'd try to guess like right at the very, very beginning. Because that's part of the fun of it for me. Seeing how accurate I am about guessing before I actually see the game itself. See how accurate my memories are of it. That's one of the reasons why, as soon as we finish a run, is when I open up the sheet for editing, rather than beginning a new run. No, I think the 2D game succeeded because Zelda 1 created a great template, Star Wars. let's be clear, as much as I think Zelda 1's a bad game, and I do, the fact is it was bonkers revolutionary and absolutely made a huge splash in the scene. That's true, Lord Harriman, but at the same time, even if it was a game I'd never heard of before, I'd probably still do it that way. Again, I'm not trying to say anybody else has to do it that way. I'm just saying that's what I would do, because I'm weird, I guess. I don't know. Interesting music. God, is it just me, or is the screen so tiny? Like, it's zoomed in. I guess it's actually the word I want to use, not tiny. Still playing with some of the precepts of the Eastern Palace here. Nothing too fancy. Just a few things. Okay. Traps. That's true, Talia. I will give them that. The one benefit of setting this quite a while later is the Descendants thing. So maybe in that case they should just do the bare bones basic thing and actually just call the characters different things. Yeah, I'm actually leaning towards a plus for camera. I'm not sure yet. Because Four Swords Adventures played with its camera a lot too, and I liked it there. We'll see. I'll jot down a theoretical. I need to jot down a lot of theoreticals. Let's see here. Coming up with names is hard. That's true. Or Flarer. Or Flarer. That's a terrible name that I just came up with right now. So let's try another one. Eltoffinen. Okay, now Eltoffinen, he's not cool, right? Because all his friends just call him Eltoff. And he refuses to let anybody call him L. He thinks it's derogatory, you know, just don't call me L. I have it. At least call me Eltoff. And only his mother actually calls him Eltoffinen. He's like, Eltoffinen? He's like, ugh. He hated going to school. Camera. We'll debate camera. I'm also going to debate camera as a negative, because honestly, this is so zoomed in. My goodness. We've definitely got map. I already mentioned map. The HUD is not bad. Probably just a single for this one, though. We got to mention 2 core mechanics, and we'll see how bad those are. First, we've got the rental system. And then we've got the monobar. We'll have to think about kit as we go. I've already mentioned several brickworky stuff. Doodads are good, much better than they were before. Already leaning towards a double on that. Intro's good. We're already well past the intro, honestly, so we'll go ahead and jot that down there. Correct, Vandalia. This is after LTTP, more accurately, this is after Link's Awakening, but before Zelda 1. For all intents and purposes, the events of this game are what lead to the events of Zelda 1. Not directly, but indirectly. Oh yeah, so the playing with the 3D thing. When they were originally making this game, it actually required 3D to be able to do several puzzles. Now, if that sounds familiar, then congratulations, you've played Super Mario 3D Land, which requires 3D to be able to do several puzzles. Now, while they were developing this game, they heard that there was this thing they were making called the 2DS. The 2DS, as you may or may not be aware, lacks 3D functionality. And so they're like, shoot, we need to make it so that people can complete this game without actually requiring the 3D. So while there's still some 3D gimmicks in the game, none of them are actually mandatory like was originally designed. So there's the shortcuts from Link's Awakening back. I mean, Zelda does do that, Star Wars. That's the problem. Like, if you pay any kind of attention, most Zelda games are either self-contained or are part of their own particular arc. The fiction is from the idea that they're all connected, which is just nonsense. There is no Zelda timeline. That's just ridiculous. It's probably the most commonly talked about thing I've been saying this entire run, too. I guess that makes sense. It's inevitable that someone named the Lore Runner is going to constantly talk about the Zelda timeline when streaming Zelda games. Goodbye. Like, I don't know what I was expecting there exactly. Hey, Random. How's your day handling? Goodbye. What I find interesting about the Dragon Quests is they are pretty structured, I think is the word I want to use, about how they do their external continuity. Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 are part of the same story. Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6 are thematically and loosely connected. Dragon Quest 7, 8, and 9 have nothing to do with each other. And I've always found that approach interesting. They kind of stopped there because, you know, Dragon Quest X was an MMO, and Dragon Quest XI, well, is its own thing. We'll say it that way. And Dragon Quest XII is never coming out. Well, so far it's going pretty well, Random. I expected this game to score well, that's why I put it so far down the line. Oh. Right, we don't have a door key. Very true, Star Wars. Because, yeah, Dragon Quest Builders 1 was a Elseworlds of Dragon Quest 1, and then Dragon Quest Builders 2 is a direct sequel to Dragon Quest 2. And an awesome game, you should go play it. Elder Scrolls 6, Lich of All, and probably Mass Effect 5. Because let's be honest, neither of those games are coming out and/or are good. Oh, that's a good point. I don't know, Random. Like, honestly, it would be difficult for them to disappoint me if they did a proper remaster of a Zelda game at this point. As long as it's a proper remaster, that is, of course, kind of a contingent there. But, I mean, Link's Awakening was a pretty proper remaster, in my opinion, so I'm with it. Perception messing with me there. Did not look like that was the right level. Yeah, no, the 3D thing is throwing me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. True, Random, they can just dump it on the Switch. They did that with Pikmin as well, if you remember, 1 through 3, or 1 through 2. Yeah. Whichever ones got dumped on the Switch recently. Not me, Kitten Fan. I mean, I could guess. Porting games depends a lot on everything, and that's the problem with porting games. It depends on what the game was on originally, it depends on what you're porting it to. Infrastructure and hardware can be wildly different between the two. That can lead to a lot of issues. Or it can be really, really easy. If you happen to have a solid software emulator, then you can just use that to run your game and you're good. We got the big key. So, we're almost done with this dungeon. Pretty simple dungeon. A little bit denser than the Eastern Palace from LTTP. Still the same general approach, you know, very tutorially, and very much designed around the idea that we have the bow, because we walked in with the bow. Which again goes back to what I've talked about a few times. The idea that they built the entire dungeon around a concept, rather than building up to that concept. So we just go right into the puzzles, and we're already at the boss. After all your posing, all your preening, just look at you now. Now, my fine fellow, prepare to be made into my latest work of art. You'll have a privileged place in my collection of sages. Ah! Excellent painting. What a knack I have for capturing the smallest details just so. Oh? Who? You're that Wriggling? Worm I saw at the sanctuary. What, have you come to challenge me again? I don't have time to coddle would-be heroes. But since you insist, I will oblige. Enough of this! You're going to spoil everything. Close to my hand. I must brush you aside. Yeah, I feel like they made Yuga to be something of an anti-Ganondorf, very much on purpose. Considering Yuga is clearly Gerudo, or, well, you know. What a sad, drab painting you make. You can rot there for all I care. Now, onward! My collection requires even more perfect paintings. Oh, how I long to hang that exquisite Princess Zelda on my wall. Well, I guess that's it. So I guess the next game on the list is Skyward Sword. That should be fun. This is the bracelet that Ravio gave us. Which we actually put on for some reason. Thanks, Ravio. Because that, unironically, would have been game over, if not for that. And all of Hyrule would have been destroyed. Really. So, Ravio's bracelet saved you? Anyways, now you have the central gimmick of the game. Or rather, one of the two central gimmicks. Switching between 2D and 3D. I kind of already talked about this, but they play with this a lot. Remember, this was one of the original precepts of the entire game. When they very, very first sat down to make the LTTP remake based off of Spirit Tracks, this was one of the very first ideas they came up with, was the 2D on 3D thing. And yeah, it seems like a simple thing. But, like good gimmicks, as Blade Javel just pointed out, it's not based on hardware, it's just a solid gimmick. The problem a lot of people screw up with when it comes to gimmick design is they seem to make their gimmicks something that, well, for lack of a better way to put it, can't really be replicated properly. Like, well, I mean, like the 3D thing on the 3DS, or the waggle on the Wii. Those aren't gimmicks, they don't really... I'm explaining this so badly. This doesn't change the gameplay, right? It doesn't add or reduce or alter or anything. It doesn't add, subtract, or mutate the function by which the gameplay itself exists. All it does is change the controls. And controls are not gameplay. They can be a part of gameplay. That's why we gauge that as such. But if you're just doing this, nothing about the game is actually changed. By contrast, this changes how we, the player, interact with the world of the game we are now interacting with. This changes the dynamic of the entire game, because now every 2D space is something we can interact with, and we start thinking of things in terms of height. An overwhelming number of the puzzles in this game come down to, am I at the right height to progress forwards? I'll actually show off one of these later, but in fact, we've already seen these before this part. We've already seen things that actually change how you play this game and how you can think about this stuff prior to now. So stuff like this makes perfect sense to us, because this whole section is just a brilliant, if I might be so bold, tutorial for this mechanic, which is now a huge portion of the game. Now we're back at the beginning of the entrance. This is awesome. Forgive me for gushing. Making it so you have to look down at your controller in order to aim, that's not gameplay. That's not gimmicks. Making it so that when you aim, it changes, like you can see through something, like a portal, for example, in the Portal game, that's a gimmick. My lad, you finally found yourself back out. Your way back out of the Eastern Palace, but of Osfala. No, Yuga's taken Osfala too. Or still, he now has 2 of our sages. And that fiend said he was going after Princess Zelda next. We mustn't let that happen. My word, what was that? We're too late. Something dire has happened at Hyrule Castle. There's no time to waste. Oh my God, someone's poured turpentine over the castle. Barry, I've never seen such magic. I daren't approach it. We must break through somehow. Princess Zelda and Lady Imbar trapped inside the castle. Yeah, and like a couple hundred other people too, dude. Listen well, Law. We must turn it again to the legend of old for our solution. Do we have to? These abominable events are an echo of what happened all those years ago. Then, when the castle was in the grip of evil, the hero of that day found the Master Sword. The hero first had to claim the 3 pendants of virtue to prove himself worthy of the blade. But they are already thwarted, for one of those pendants is inside the castle with Princess Zelda. You mean this one? Can't be it. You're wearing the Pendant of Courage. What are you doing with it, Law? She gave it to you. Special charm. How right she was. She must have sensed evil and the rise of a new hero to meet it. So it is you? It must be. Why else would the princess have given you the Pendant of Courage? She knew you would need to get the Master Sword. Very well. You've got a quest ahead of you. You have to find 2 pendants. The one's in Terra, one's in the House of Gales. You got the Pendant of Courage. Good thing the princess thought ahead. First, it seems prudent to save. Let's go and save. I shall head home to search for my library for clues as to where the other 7 sages of our day might be. So for now, it's all up to you, Law. Ah! Rude. Yeah, Link's fine. He can do this. So now we see, and it's almost one of the first things we can do there. There are obstacles that can prevent us, like those rocks. So now we have a visual cue. That's a wall. That's a 2D wall, to be more accurate. And we can zone through this mode. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. First of all, you remember back in LTTP where there was the one time, technically 2 times, where we interacted with the dark world, light world dichotomy, where we changed one thing in one world and then it affects it in the other. Remember that? That was neat and all, but the reason it didn't get its own positive or anything similar is because why would it? They only do it once. So imagine if we had this thing right here, and not to dig at Twilight Princess, but imagine if this was Twilight Princess, and so we get this cool gimmick for one dungeon, and then for the entire rest of the game it's used for like 2 puzzles and that's it. Instead, they designed pretty much the entire game around the idea that you can do this. And they play with that a lot. Like, I can't go south. Oh, wait, yeah, no, yeah, I can, because, remember, it retains your height. It suddenly becomes this weird thing. Like, I'm not even explaining it properly. It's not a 2D game. Not really. It's more like retaining your current Z-axis. And so in some cases, you can be like, aha, I can go way, way over there because I can actually see where I'm going. Is there a way to do it this way? Nope, how about this way? Hey! Ah, good. I don't need to use the stylus. That is awesome. Death to the stylus and to the living. By the way, it's also possible to permanently just throw rupees into a pit in this game. As in to remove rupees from circulation, for lack of a better way to put that. If you rent an item and then die, the rupees you spent on renting that item are gone. And speaking from experience, it kind of sucked dying in a boss fight and losing the item. Oh yeah. So here's a fun one. Oh, hang on, let me clear the board a little bit here. So, aha! We can just get in, right? Well, there's that wall concept again. Also, you can really see the angle there. But anyways. And we can't just do it on these things. So we've got to find some other way in. And you like how they're already playing... I mean, granted, I'm roaming a little bit and exploring a little bit, but they're already playing with the concept of the 2D thing and what you can do with it. That's to do stuff. Whoop. I shouldn't meant to do that. I meant to do this. Is the rent mechanic mandatory? That's an interesting question. So, you can also buy items. I think we actually have access to that yet. Here, let me check really quick. Hey, welcome back, little hero. What happened, buddy? My bracelet did what now? Huh. I don't know. Pretty neat. You can turn into a panty. Wowie, wowie. I wish I was you. I wonder if I could steal that power from this weird Yuga guy, too. Ah, what am I thinking? I'm not cut out for this sort of stuff. I'd probably screw it all up somehow and get stuck on some dungeon wall. I couldn't bear it. Stuck there forever and ever. Oh yeah, I should leave that kind of tough work to heroes. For sure. Yeah, thanks, Ravio. Marry me! Oh, sorry. Gully, it's time to come home. He must not be able to hear me. I hope he hasn't gotten himself lost in the woods down south. Ah, he's fine. Gully's dead, by the way. He's, eaten alive, actually. Slowly digested over 1,000 years. Listen. All I'm saying is that Link and Ravio, excuse me, need to have all of the sex. Oh, Lore. Have you seen Gully in here? Wait, did you just find that pouch? Oh my stars, Gully had that. I made it for you so you could carry more items, but he insisted on being the one who gave it to you. If you found it, then where's Gully? Oh, how awful. Better tell my husband. I'm sure we can find him somehow. We have to. But please, you should use that pouch so I won't have to worry about you quite as much. Now we can have 2 shortcutted items. Oh my god, Ross. I'm joking. Are there people who are less joking about that concept? I mean, I know self-love is a thing, but jeez Louise. Alright, so... It's so weird not having the boots. Oh my god. Oh no, run! Yeah, by the way, this is also an escape vector. They'll still see you, but they cannot attack you when you're painting on a wall, which I suppose is one of those sentences that makes sense. Oh yeah, by the way, being in the wall uses up magic. I don't know if I showed that off properly. So you see this thing? Well, normally we need the gauntlets to get past that. Or... I'm sorry, if it's not obvious, I love this mechanic. This is the kind of stuff that I actually love in my Zelda games. Legitimate innovacy. Innovacy? Whatever. Innovation. I swear innovacy is a word. That really dynamically changes how the game plays and adds to the most important thing of all, the fun. What is the definition of a plus to gameplay? Exactly. It adds... It increases the overall enjoyment of the gameplay. That's what a gimmick should be. I'm going to call that canvas mode, in honor of the hero of canvases. Who is playing this music? Are you drunk? Who designed this music? It looks like it might be on Twitch's end, because my connection to Twitch is actually just fine. Sorry, one moment. Alright. Ah. Apparently everyone's getting Twitch lag today. Great. Well, the good news is, like I said, nothing's been hitting the VOD. But yeah, that is probably just Twitch being Twitch, as is its wont. You know, I just realized I'm a Kitten fan. I don't think I'm capable of starting hero mode, because you have to unlock it, don't you? Okay, jotted my notes down. Let's go talk to the blacksmith. We haven't talked to him in a minute. Billy, where are you? My son's got to be alright. He's just got to be, Laura. Nah, he's dead. He dead, yo. Bragwin killed him. Hey, Laura. You just going to stroll around the kingdom? We got work to do. Come on, huh? What's that about Sahasrara and Princess Zelda? Wait, you met the princess? Better not be pulling my leg. But if that's true, you better do what's right by the princess. Don't worry about your work here. Just get involved in... Just get to whatever business you're involved in. Oh, one more thing. Did you see Gully Nort? My wife's getting into a bit of a panic. I'm sure she's fussing over nothing. She's pretty sensitive about stuff. Just like Gully, I guess. Ever hear about animals really like him? Strange, though. But I bet that's where he's out playing with the critters. Ah, he's fine. He's fine. He's fine. Why would they need to fix infrastructure when they could just pocket the money? I mean, come on. So, here's another thing. We can't just go into a door like that. It needs to be a 2D slit, like we've already seen earlier. Also, I don't know about you all, but my eyes just immediately, the moment they did that wonderful tutorial section, which I've already done it down as a positive, I'm just eyeballing terrain now, right? At all times, thinking, okay, is there anything I can get? Is there anything I can get at a distance? Like, if I ever see something up top, like that heart piece earlier, my first thought is, okay, can I do this in order to go up and get the heart piece? Stuff like that. Listen, they would never pocket the money Blue Fusion Field. Of course not. They're going to reinvest. That's how that works. There she is. Nope. Maybe not. Maple, could you run into me, please? Hold up a second, Greenie. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Someone else wearing the green hat? Who am I? I'm sorry, it's Irene. Best witch of my generation. Still a junior witch, but whatever. Alright, get this. I had my fortune told this morning, right? And I was told I'd soon be visited by disaster. Disaster? If I want to change my future, I should take care of green. And I'm like, green? What should I take care of, the grass? I'm not mowing every lawn in Hyrule. Forget that. I'm a witch on the rise. And then you came along, and it all made sense. I gotta take care of you, Greenie. So here, take this thing. And we get fast travel very early in this game. Much earlier than LTTP. Hell, earlier than Twilight Princess, which also gives it pretty early. Been seeing those weather vans all over the place? Just ring the bell and I'll fly you to the ones you found. Normally I don't take passengers, but I'd rather haul you all over Hyrule than face disaster. Anyway, gotta fly. Errands to run for my Gram. Laters. Oh, right, one more thing. Gram's a world-class potion brewer. Her shop's behind the Eastern Palace. I'd strongly suggest you go look for her. Her potions can't be beat. See, I'm looking out for you already, Greenie. So there's our fast travel. Double check something for that. Deepotter, what do you... Ah! Oh, these rocks. Real pain in the neck. You ever haul rocks? It sucks. Huh? A customer? Hey, you're the kid who works at the blacksmith, right? Decided you have enough of that place, huh? Come here to be my apprentice, maybe? I'm just joking. I wouldn't do that to your master. I wonder. I'm gonna screw with something really quick. Forgive me. I was gonna screw with something. Here we go. I wasn't really doing that deliberately, Kitten Fan, but I have been roaming north on accident, so I suppose, yeah. And thank you for being part of the show, Vandalia. Give me a moment. So that's F1 comparison block. Stein's Gate. And Kingdom Hearts block. I thought Zelda was actually one of the descendants in this one. I could be mixing that up. Either way, I'm curious what you think the Gorons have to do with anything, because the Gorons weren't even in LTTP. Which makes sense. Maybe if I just do it this way? Nope, that's not doing it. You know what, screw it. Let's just do this manually. Let's see what happens. This is going to look weird for a second. I apologize. That looks better. Sorry, I was starting to hurt my eyes. It's okay, this should be a quick and simple resize. If this guy's a Goron, I'll eat my hat. And you don't want me to do that. It's a nice hat. Like, he has clearly human skin and hair and a beard. Like, maybe he's half Goron. Either way, Gorons being in this setting wouldn't actually be all that surprising. Remember, there were Gorons in the world. They just weren't in Hyrule. So it's not really all that out of bounds, assuming this guy was a Goron, for there to be Gorons here. Yeah, if he takes a lava bath, we'll know for certain. But remember, the Oracle's games, which occurred after LTTP, were nearby countries which happened to have Gorons in them. There we go. That looks better. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, maybe he's culturally Goron. I was on the mountain mining ore when all of a sudden the earth started shaking. When I got home, the place was a wreck. Rocks everywhere. Seen outside? I'll be busting my back for days trying to clean up that mess. At least picking up the rocks and smashing all the things feels pretty good. Wish they were full of good ore, though. What? Want to try too? Ha! Well, it feels good smashing stuff. Can confirm. I mean... Can't do it. Sorry to hear it. Can't stand to see a nice kid like you not being able to throw your weight around. Here, take this. It's a hand-me-down from yours truly. You'll feel tough with that on your mitt. Ought to be able to pick up rocks, smaller ones anyway. And if you get to smashing and just can't stop yourself, well, there's a whole bunch of them outside. Just a joke, that's all. I wouldn't really tell you to do all my work out there. Still, if you do, who am I to stop you? These rocks aren't going to clean themselves. Back into it. Tell that old smithy master of yours I said hello. I mean, a lot of fiction likes to do that thing where they're extraordinarily loose about crossbreeding rules, because the creators never thought about it, because honestly, that's kind of icky. So the rule is usually either all or none. That's how most fiction approaches it. If it's sentient, and it has a reproductive system, you can have a child with it. Or, you can't have a child with anything other than your own species. And there's really not a lot of exceptions to that. Where have all those darn rocks got to? Oh, ho, ho, ho. You went ahead and did the job for me. Well, I gotta thank you for all that. Come on in, okay? Yeah, I would not want to be Naomi Wildman's mother. Under any circumstances whatsoever. Glad to share what's in that chest with you. You earned it, kid. Well, between Twitch being unwatchable and me being tired, maybe I should just chop off early today. I don't know. What do y'all think? Nobody responds because they can't hear me. Can someone do me a favor, check Twitch health for me really quick? Oh, wait. Nobody can hear me saying that either. God dang it. Ew. A handful of monster guts. Ugh. Yeah, I do have to deal with dinner for tonight, too. So I'm probably getting off early-ish anyways. How you doing, bro? Oh, there's the captain. This is the painting of the captain. Oh my god, I'm relieved to see you're all right, Laura. But my poor Ceres, I can only guess why that fiend has taken her. All that nonsense about perfection. Of course, my daughter is perfect, but if only I could have taken her place. Oh, what a nightmare this is. Ah, don't worry about it. Oh, I can't run into him. No, that was it. That was it. I'm right. I'm right. Back in. Which is like, so... Seems like a nice stream you got there here. Be a shame if something were to happen to it. I do appreciate how the lantern doesn't take up magic power. So if you're paying attention, I saw this earlier. And, I mean, again, thinking about that height thing. You see a ledge that's just up and no visible way to reach it? Well, your first thought is, alright, draw a line alongside it. See how that works out. Oh yeah, by the way, that's another thing you can do. I didn't show that off properly just now, but... let me try to show that off briefly. Give me a sec, give me a sec. So, if you're out over something, you can drop down and do it like this. See? So, it's not just something at your angle, but something that's below your angle as well. Angle's the wrong word. At your height. Also, Deep sucks! I don't remember why, but by God, it's the suckitude. Like, Hoover Vacuums look at him and they're like, dude, is there fall damage? I don't believe so, but you can fall into a pit, and that does do damage. Oh, monster guts. I do want those. So unlike in the last game, you really can't lift the big ones yet. Oh, it's fine. Just don't picture what it would feel like as it's happening, Bragwin. You wouldn't die immediately. Just bits and pieces of you slowly erased. Not even like linearly. It's not like surface pieces. Just like this part over here, part of your left jaw, bit of your eye, part of your arm. See, I already thought about this because way back at the very beginning of the Primus campaign, there was a lycanthrope, and lycanthropes are magical creatures. They're actually constructs, but that's neither here nor there. And one of them was being disenchanted while he was still alive. Whoa there. Those things. Worst enemy in the game. In both games. Getting rupees, which is nice, but I'm gonna get a lot more than this. Actually, 4 years, Bragman, believe it or not. If we count the entire thing. I don't have bombs yet. A new weather vane has been added to the map. Would you like to save? You've been playing for a while now. Why not take a break? Game. 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 You can also zoom in the map. I don't think I really showed that off properly. It's helpful, as I mentioned earlier. It's a decent map, plus the gameplay. Anything down here? So, a bunch of rupees for some reason. Ugh. I do like rupees, though. Delicious rupee. Yes, I'm secretly a like. What do you want from me? Oh god, that's a good point. Time to eat my shield. Also, pretty sure this is a Donkey Kong reference. It's structured differently, but the overall avoidance method is still the same. Even down to the pits. It's just instead of jumping over the pits, you do this. Not super high tier, Star Wars. Hyrule is actually pretty low magic, all things considered. They have some basic curses and the like, but that's kind of it, really. Rupees. Delicious rupees. Whatever. It's always interesting to me when developers go out of the way to make certain mechanics work as smoothly and quickly as possible, because that's harder to do than it sounds. That kind of optimization is what really tends to differentiate the great games from the good ones. And it is hard to make something like that happen quickly and efficiently. Agreed, Dread did a lot of good stuff with that. And not to go into it too much, because I know you hate this game, but Odyssey as well. Odyssey knew how to really refine its gameplay loops to the point where it just feels so butter smooth. But then again, Dread does the same thing. Frankly, so does Wonder, while we're on the subject. Even entering a Wonder Seed area doesn't really feel particularly slow, even though it does have a load screen component, because the load screen is used as part of the transitionary element. I'm going to try to say that as boringly as possible. Today we'll be discussing how to properly program your games for Monster Guts. Chapter 1. Monster Guts are gross. Do not program with them. If you're going to program a video game, it is incumbent upon thee to program it upon duct tape. Please program all your games on duct tape forthwith. Sincerely, Metroid. You need the hammer for this. But we did get a fast travel. You know, we have a lot of weird terms for programming. It wouldn't surprise me if duct tape is a term in programming somewhere. What are you doing? I'm duct taping. Oh, okay. No further questions. I mean, Sherlocking is a real term. Among others. Okay, I think that's actually it. I think we actually do have to go get the hammer in order to progress. Ugh! The Tower of Duct Tape. I mean, that fits. That honestly fits Source Engine. Like, have you ever looked into Source? Because holy crap, it's shocking it's as functional as it is. Here. Whee! Relatively quick load times. Ravio has ruined my home. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. Welcome back. I still haven't found anywhere else to stay, so I spruced things up a little bit in here. I've made it into a nice little shop for myself. Pretty great, isn't it? So I take it things didn't go as planned. But the item I lent you came in handy, right? You know, there's actually plenty more where that came up. Ravio's all about helping heroes. And the way things are going, I think you're gonna need my help. You know what they say, you wash my ears, I'll wash yours. How about you rent me your house? And I'll rent you lots of items. And it's a deal. I mean, it's not like you ever come here, right? So, here's how it works. I rent a wide variety of items and weapons to you. And the rental period, that's the best part. You keep rentals for a long time. Specifically until the next time you fall in battle, which might never happen, right? I mean, sure, you look tough. But if you do fall in battle, my pal Shiro here will swoop in to collect my property and leave you there to die. Right, just like that. Swoop right in. Collect my stuff while you just lie there. So you see anything you want? I got plenty of gear besides the bow. If you find anything you like, just walk up to it and press A. You're already renting the bow, buddy. Stab! Alright, well, let me stab him. Let me stab him. Let me murder you. Die in a fire. You know, you changed all this crap. You didn't get rid of Majora's Mask. Hey! Don't touch that bag, Mr. Hero. There's something in there that's more important than life itself. I don't know what the hell that thing is. I have to do it. I have to do it. Don't stop me. I have joined Majora. Sorry. Alright, give me the hammer. 20 rupees. Give me. Make sure you take good care of my hammer, alright? Uh-huh. Wham! Okay. See you next time. I'm going to murder you. That's going to happen. You know those innocent guards I killed? Yeah, that's gonna be you. There, see that's gonna be your fate, okay? And also, could you clean up the dishes? It's disgusting. They're just piling up outside. Oh, God, I hate him so much. All right. So you can tell it's a rental because it's got Ravio's freaking helmet on it. Hat on it? I don't know. Really the green thing I'm supposed to take care of? Because you look like you're doing just fine. Well, whatever. It's fine. We don't need bombs. We don't need anything. Ever. But what I do want, what I do need, is to, Actually, you know what? Hang on. New plan. So the first time I ever played this game, the first thing I did was I rented every single item, because it was really, really cheap. And then I died. Guess what happens when you die when you have a bunch of rentals out? So that was fun. Let's go grab this. I am going to go ahead and cut off early, as predicted. There we go. Tomorrow, roughly 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to play more of this sucker. I'll see you around.